Welcome back to Life's Chillent. My name is Avital, and this week's Parshat is Parshat Bereshit, which is the very first Torah portion of the Bible, of the 5 books of Moses. And what a better way to begin than with the creation of the universe. So Parshat Bereshit focuses on creation. It talks about making the heavens and the earth. It talks about making plants, and it talks about making animals, and the sky, and the moon, and the sun, and the stars, and man and woman. And the Torah tells us that God created this place called Eden, the Garden of Eden, which you may be familiar with, and that he placed man into the Garden of Eden. So God created man and he created woman, Adam and Eve, the first humans, as we believe them to be, and he put them in the Garden of Eden. And God told Adam and Eve, he said that of every tree of the garden you may freely eat, but the tree of knowledge of good and bad you must not eat thereof, for on the day you eat of it you shall surely die. So you may be familiar with this story that I'm about to tell you about the tree of knowledge, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it anyway. So again, Adam and Eve, the first human beings on earth, placed in the Garden of Eden. God tells them they can eat of any tree that they see. Everything is available to them but this one tree, the tree of knowledge. And as you may know, a serpent, a snake, comes to Eve and he brings her temptation. He brings her that voice in the back of your mind that tells you to do something bad. And he says, you will surely not die, for God knows that your eyes will open and you will be like God, knowing good and bad. So the Torah tells us that after that little sort of permission from the snake, she goes ahead and she eats from the fruit of the tree. And not only does she eat, but she brings it back to her husband. She brings it back to Adam so that he also will eat of this fruit. And sure enough, their eyes are sort of open and they have this new knowledge. And they recognize that they've been naked this whole time. And when they hear God's voice coming to speak to them in the Garden of Eden, they hide. And God tells them, he asks them, why are they hiding? And Adam says it's because we are naked and afraid. It sounds like a TV show, but it's because we are naked. And God says, who told you that you are naked? Have you eaten from the tree which I commanded you not to eat? And sure enough, the man said, the woman whom you gave me to be with, she gave me of the tree and I ate. So first of all, he's saying, that woman that you created, she gave it to me. It's her fault. And she says, God said to the woman, what is it that you have done? The woman said, the serpent deceived me and I ate. So then Eve is like, hey, it's the serpent, it wasn't me. And basically they were all punished. The snake was punished, woman was punished, and man was punished for punishments that will last them for eternity. And I thought that was interesting because, again, it's like a little bit of blame passing. Adam says that woman that you created gave me of the fruit and I ate it. And she says that snake told me to eat it and I ate it. So they're all just passing the blame along. But continuing on in the Parsha, we get to Cain and Abel, who are the children, the firstborns of Adam and Eve, the first man and woman. So they're the first children. And one day, Cain and Abel decided to bring offerings to God. And Cain's offering was not accepted while Abel's was, which really created jealousy. And the Torah tells us that it annoyed Cain exceedingly. Cain was very upset about this. So the Torah tells us, it says, and Hashem said to Cain, why are you annoyed? And why has your countenance fallen? Surely if you improve yourself, you will be forgiven. But if you do not improve yourself, sins rest at the door. Its desire is towards you, yet you can conquer it. So God is saying to Cain, okay, your offering wasn't accepted, but you know what? You can mend your ways. You can change. You can take that responsibility for your actions and you can change. Yes, there are temptations, but you are strong enough not to give into temptations, and then your offering will also be accepted like your brother Abel's offering was. So Cain doesn't seem like he likes this idea because what does the next verse tells us? It tells us that Cain rose up and he killed his brother Abel. So it seems like that didn't go well. It seems like he was not so keen on the plan that God told him to change his ways and that his offering would then be accepted. So Hashem comes to Cain and he says, "Where is your brother Abel?" And now you may have heard this verse, probably have. And he said, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" So once again, Cain is saying, how am I supposed to know where my brother is? Am I responsible for him? Am I supposed to be keeping track of his every movement? I don't think so. And so again, he's sort of passing this responsibility on, just saying like, I'm not my brother's keeper. So it's really interesting timing because Parshat Bereshit always falls out on the Shabbat immediately following the high holiday season's conclusion. So the high holidays are comprised of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. And the focus of those holidays is really about introspection. It's about looking within ourselves. It's about recognizing the ways that we can improve, like God was saying to Cain, that you can amend your ways and change and you can overcome desire and temptation and sin, that we can do those things. And we look inside of ourselves to see what are those things that we're responsible for, what are those ways that we want to improve ourselves. So it's a very fitting time to be reading this portion and for this to be the content of the Torah portion. And what I think the overarching lesson between those two stories is the story of Adam and Eve eating from the fruit from the tree of knowledge, and Cain and Abel, Cain rising up and killing his brother. We see a little thread between those two, which is about passing the blame and not taking personal responsibility or ownership for our actions. It wasn't like when God went to Adam and said, "Adam, who told you you were naked? Did you eat from the tree that I told you not to eat from?" It wasn't like Adam said, "You know what? Yes, I did eat from that tree. I did something wrong. You told me not to, and I still gave in to temptation and I ate from the tree and I'm sorry." He didn't start by saying, "Yes, I did that." He said, "It was the woman that you, God, gave to me. She's the one who led me to sin. It's her fault." And then God comes to the woman and is like, "Okay, if it's your fault, tell me about that." And she says, No, it wasn't me. It was the snake. The snake is really the one at fault here. Each one of them is passing the blame along. And similarly with Cain and Abel, Cain kills Abel and God says, "What happened to Abel?" And he says, "Am I my brother's keeper? Like, what do you want from me?" It's very much that nobody's taking ownership and responsibility for their actions. And this season that we just went through, the high holiday season, it is exactly the opposite of those two stories. It's exactly we're going to look inside of ourselves and we're going to take personal responsibility for our actions. We're going to go to God. We're going to go to other people and we're going to say, "I made a mistake and I'm sorry." Or, "This is how I'm going to change because I don't like this aspect about myself or the way I've been acting." We have the opportunity. God told it exactly to Cain in this Parsha that we can change our ways. We can overcome those desires that are not good desires. We can do that. We have that kind of strength. God has blessed us with that. So then we just have to make the choice to go ahead and to do it. So I think, again, from this week's Parsha, we really can learn the value of ownership, of accepting what our actions are, of not pretending like we didn't do them, not pretending like we didn't do something bad, but saying, "Yeah, I did do that, and I'm not so proud of it, and I can change." And so I hope you all have a wonderful week and a Shabbat Shalom, and I look forward to speaking with you next time.